Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Welcome around the globe. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to the number one internet station around today. Pleasant, happy listening. Well, tonight we are going to be let me say my name is Leon George and you are listening to Tell It Like It Is. With me tonight it's my co-host John Kelman out of Barbados, and later on we're going to be joined by another special guest, and we're going to be taking your calls as we go along tonight. So tonight we're going to be discussing prison reform. We're going to look at crime and whether prison reform should be a punishment or form of rehabilitation. So this is a topic that we're going to explore tonight and see how we're going to get by with this topic. With this topic, we may have to discuss this topic again next week because this is a wide and broad-ranging topic. It's just not the kind of topic that you could really discuss in isolation. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned. Later on, we're going to be taking your calls, and you can participate in the program, and we'll tell you more how we can participate in the program. So let me say welcome to my guest, John Kelman out of Barbados. John?
Hello there, a very good evening to you, a good evening world. John Kelman, Barbados.
John, well, thank you. John, this topic tonight that we're going to discuss, prison as a punishment or form of rehabilitation. Now, prison reform is something that we see happening more and more in prison, not just here in the Caribbean, but around the world. But the question is tonight, when someone ends up in prison, they end up there because they will have broken the law. They will have committed a crime. And the question here tonight, should such an individual be punished for the crime and after the punishment throw them back into society like that? Is this the way that we should deal with one who have transgressed against the law? John?
Now, okay. I would be willing to say that if we could just look at imprisonment, as a form of rehabilitation, we would really be on the ball. Because like you said, if someone has committed a felony or whatever, and you take them into confinement, punish them for what they've done, we may be able to say that, okay, that person has paid their duty to society, to the state, for the misdemeanor that they have done. But what have you done about changing that person's attitude to law breaking? Nothing. So I think that the emphasis should be rehabilitative. That is, yes, they must pay for the wrongdoing which they have done, but in there it would be a matter of transforming them from the evil ways to being worthwhile citizens. And I can tell you up front, Larry, that I am really diametrically opposed to corporal punishment or those. I think there is a way where you can create a good rapport between people understand why they have done what they have done, meet them at that junction, and talk with them. Let them understand that what they have done would demand a penalty, yes, but I want to get in touch with you to get you to change that attitude. And I don't want to do this by ordering, but rather by directing you the right way and creating a good rapport, letting you know that I am empathizing with you more so than anything else. I think that's the road we should take. So we are going to put less emphasis on penalty, although we are not obliterating it, and we want to put our focus on rehabilitation.
I want to pick up on something that you said, and I don't agree with you. Mm-hmm. You said when someone is put into prison and they're punished for the crime that they commit or the transgression of the law, they have paid the dues to society. I disagree with that. What happened when that individual go to prison? What they get is their just dues. I can't see that as paying the dues to society. I will say they pay the dues to society if they reform themselves and do all in their power not to return, and in such a way, by their reform or their transformation, that they would not find themselves back into prison. I believe if they return to society and now make a meaningful contribution back into society, then I will consider that person paying the dues for back to society, not because they just go to prison, serve their sentence, and back out. I would never consider that person paying the dues for society like that.
Okay.
Because we have not dealt with that individual in a way that he would not return.
You must remember, Larry, that people...
Leon.
Leon, sorry. Yeah, people act differently to the same stimulus. Do you know that people who are put in prison and punished, that can change some people's attitude and make them feel penitent about what they've done and would not do it again? And then there's another type, would be extremely angry and not forgiving the people who reprimanded them. Another thing you've got to bring into consideration is that when people have been imprisoned, very often the society is not at all friendly when they come back into the society. And they are forced sometimes to run back where they find a more friendly environment in the prison with their peers, because the society is so hostile and cruel and insensitive that they don't feel welcome when they come back. Although they must be punished.
And the society have every right to feel that way. As you talk about running back into a friendly environment, running back in an environment where they feel accepted, which is the prison itself. And I say that is the problem. Prison should never be a place where an individual wants to run back. Prison should be a place where you never want to go back. You have given up your right. You have broken the law, and there are consequences for that. And prison should be one of the is a place for that. When you go into there, you go in there for punishment. When you tell me that someone will want to go back into prison where they feel welcome and where they feel again like they are among someone who appreciate them and accept them for who they are, something is definitely wrong with that system prison was never created to do such a thing. Prison was created for exactly the opposite.
Leon, do not let us look at the chap who runs back in there to think that he likes in there. He does not like the cruel, hostile society that is unmerciful. And we cannot stand here and hide behind that. People make them feel uncomfortable. You are never forgiven. What would you expect somebody to do? Come on and say, okay, give me a flogging. What would you expect? If somebody is in prison for some wrong they've done, we on the outside should feel that justice has been done. And therefore, we cannot accept them again. But when you make them feel you are a criminal forevermore, would you expect them to gravitate to you? They will run back where there is some form of comfort. Man is a gregarious animal. He loves company. Exile is awful. It is like an execution. And when you do that to a fellow who did something wrong in the society, and you put him in prison, you take away his freedom. All these things you do, which he justly deserves. Yes. But when he has gone through that, what are you going to do now? Take out his jugular vein and kill him? You run him back to prison.
I am saying, when you give up your right, when you have an opportunity to uphold the law and be a meaningful individual to society, make a contribution to society, you choose to go a way that you choose to break the law, you choose to act even dishonest, and you make that choice. Nobody forces you to do it. In many cases, you make the choice. Now, hold on a second. Now, I understand there are special circumstances where people get into all kinds of situations where, in itself, they might be the level of education and the social background. They might have come home, family breakup, and all these sort of issues. You have to take. Yes, I would say that, and that will have landed them in prison. The fact remains they still break the law, and when they come back out in society not supposed to welcome them though they're giving them a reward for going back into prison. You have to now come out in that prison and earn the trust of society again. You have to work for it. It is unfair for you to think that I went to prison, I've spent 3 years, I have been punished for the crime I've done. Now I'll come back out, everything should be okay, and society is supposed to accept me back. How do they know? How society know you that you would repeat your action? How does society know you have reformed from your actions? So society, it is normal. It is normal for the society that you live in to view you with a certain skepticism, or a way that I cannot fully embrace you because you have just labeled yourself, you have just scarred your reputation. I didn't do it. You break the law. You scarred your own reputation. You want me to reward you? You want me to embrace you as you come out of prison? No, it is unfair for any individual who comes out of prison and thinks they could just walk back into society and society should accept them with open arms. It is normal for society to see them that way. It's up to the individual now to prove, hey, I am a changed individual. I have reformed. I am not the man I used to be. And that takes some time.
And during that time, the hostile society out there don't even take for granted, let me see how he's going to behave now. Oh, he's a jailbird. Don't let him come nowhere around here. It is unfair to them. We run them back into prison. We run them back to prison. Because we have not... say again?
I don't think it is unfair to them.
It is unfair. It is unfair, Leon. It is unfair. At least when they have gone into prison and they have probably been flogged a whole lot of things. I mean, they spent 3 years inside there in confinement, not allowed to be free like people outside, which they deserve. Nobody is complaining that you shouldn't punish. Yes, let us punish. But when they're punished, when they come out, let them see that we have been satisfied that you have paid the... You
I
don't
disagree.
think so?
I disagree 100%. Let's take a child in school. I stole his pencil. He find out that I stole his pencil. I go into the teacher or my parents and I get a good flogging for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that child come to school the next day with that pencil? Do you think he should leave his book bag unattended? Because he sits next to me or close to me? Wouldn't that child have every right to take precautionary measures or to make sure that I don't go back in his bag? Do you think that because I get the flogging, that child should don't trust me and say, okay, he get a flogging, he will not go back and interfere with my pencil, or he will not go back into my bag?
How do you know that he would? If you don't give him that chance. You're saying that as long as he stole, you are a thief eternally. That is not fair.
It
You
is
have
fair.
to give... Oh.
I am saying to you, sir, I will not give him that chance. He will have to take that chance, get that chance up and prove that to me somehow. Why would I give him that chance and then when I give him that chance I suffer the same consequences all over? No.
But you are...
have to prove himself.
But how does he prove himself when from the very next day you say, I don't want to sit next to him, he's a thief? How can he prove himself? You don't give him that chance to prove himself. You don't stop and let him come near you. You are a thief. It is like a centipede. Anytime we see a centipede crawling on the road, you step on it. It must die. He is a thief eternally. There is no forgiveness. You are a thief. And if you keep telling a person that, they must feel bad. Anytime you hurt a person's feeling, you are not giving them a chance to get close to you. He did something and he was put into prison. He might have raped somebody. He put into prison. Nobody is saying that. You can say, well, boy, I know you went to prison now, so come on. You give him a chance. You don't ostracize him. You don't let him see that. From the time he turns up there, you want to move away. We don't want him with us. How will you give him that chance to gel, to get back into this society, to know if he has benefited from what has happened to him?
I am saying it is normal for society to react that way, and it's up to the individual to know that, and he will have to know. Don't tell me that a man made 10 years for rape your next door neighbor. The 10 years is up, and you are going to work, and you're going to leave your daughter or your wife unprotected, or somehow you will not take no kind of precautionary measures out without knowing the state of this man's mind. All you know, he spent 10 years in prison. It is normal for you to tell your wife and daughter, this individual is now out of prison, and let's be careful. Please keep the front door locked. Don't answer if somebody come to knock to the door. No, it's normal for you to do that. That is normal. Society will act that way. Now, until this person will have to spend a considerable amount of time back into mainstream society and doing certain things and conducting themselves in a certain way for you now to say, yes, this person has reformed, this person have been rehabilitated, this person, I don't think this person is going to go back to his own ways. It will take some time, and I'm saying to you, if society react that way for somebody who now come out of prison, you tell me you spend 5 years for some crime or robbery or something, you will have be reformed in prison and so on, and you go on 2 days after to look for a job. Are you telling me it's not normal for that employer to look at your track record, look at your background, look at your criminal record, and deal with your calling? You have not done nothing for that employer or that individual to to say, yes, you deserve a second chance. You have to prove it. You can't give somebody forgiveness if the person have not shown that they are ready for forgiveness. How could you forgive someone?
Leon, my question to you is this. How does that person prove themselves when you don't even let them get near you? You ostracize them. You alienate them. And he knows that you're suspicious of him, and it isn't that you let him come close and you keep an eye on him. You let him know and say, move away from here. You are unclean. What would you expect? He goes back where he can find a more loving and less hostile society. And that is where he has his friends. And that is what drives a lot of our youngsters back to prison. Because we don't give them a chance to prove themselves. We don't.
John,
but we need to do that and give him, so that we can have a chance to say, well, you came and you see you do the same thing again. You can't say that. As far as you're concerned, as long as he went to prison, you are a criminal. You don't belong to society here. Look for some exiled island to live on. You look for some Patmos to put him on. You don't belong here. And you are telling me that thing? Well, I mean, I don't want to go to the scriptures now when we talk about God forgive us and whatnot. I don't want to bring that into this situation. But let us take the prodigal son. You could want anything worse than that. He called his father for all that he had, and he went out and lived righteously and lost it all. When he realized what it was, he came back to the father. And the father forgave him right away and accepted him back. He didn't know if he would come back and do a similar thing, but he took him, give him a chance to prove himself. The other brother was real angry. Why he went waste your time and you bring him back here? He spoke just like you, Leon.
No,
but you see, you have to give the chance.
No. He said I will go back to my father and admit.
But he said that. But you don't know what the prisoner says when he leaves prison. You don't know, and you don't even want to know. He went to prison. We don't want you here. You don't even want to hear what he's saying.
You see, what I'm getting from you is this. You are saying that the reason why it will come across this way, even though you didn't say it, why we get so many people returning to prison, so many individuals returning to prison, is because of the way society shun them.
But that is true. That is a fact. Leon, I'll tell you something, Leon. I am not talking because I feel that is the way it is. I would have to tell you this because I'm not sure if you are aware. I've been a social worker for quite a number of years, and I've interacted with these people, and I've heard their own testimony, the pain and the anguish that they get, and I have been able to understand their pain and sorrow.
And John,
I'm not being lenient with them and say, well, could dare anything. These people complain to you the pain they feel. They get into a bus and a number of little whizzies going around, and the noise they're saying, oh, you went to prison. You feel uncomfortable. You don't feel comfortable. And if you are uncomfortable, you will not think. Why do you think that dogs run away from where they live? Children run away. When the parents make it extremely hard for them and you don't give them a chance. People make mistakes, sometimes
John,
not deliberately.
John,
hello.
Go ahead. No, and I'm saying to you, when such an individual come to me and said that they feel uncomfortable with how society treat them because they come out of prison. You are now to tell them that is because of what that is normal. Society cannot welcome you back after you committed a crime. You can't expect it. It is unfair. It's unfair for you to ask society now to welcome back a person just like that with open arms who just committed a crime and serve a sentence. And I'm going to tell that such an individual who complained to me that is normal, you will then have to learn how to deal with that. After a while, because there are many, many instances where people come out of prison and change their life around. And people now who should talk down and talk about them have now also changed them, change the way of thinking about that person, who are really accept them now because that person have proven themselves. And I am saying to you, a person who just come out of jail and have not proven themselves, it is normal. You is acting sad. It is unfair for you to say we must welcome such a person back into society just so with open hands.
All I am saying to you is, if this person has gone to prison, they've spent some time in prison for what they've done, you don't know whether they have been rehabilitated or not. You don't know that. I am not saying that if he came right out the next day and proposed to marry your daughter, that you would open with a welcome and says, welcome, son-in-law. I'm not saying that. But you've got to give him a chance to prove himself. And you can't do that by running him. You've got to do that by letting him come near you and watch his reactions. And if he realizes that you are quite sensitive of what has happened to him, you may get into conversation with him. You say, well, you know what you did, people are not going to accept you readily, you know, that sort of thing. But you yourself say, don't come any further, you're a prisoner. You don't say a word, but by innuendo, you let him know you can't come here.
And I said,
that's
yes,
what I'm saying. If you do that, you are not helping him to re-enter society. You are not. And that is unkind and insensitive.
For you,
I'm not saying that you can invite him to have sojourn in your home and lie down in your bedroom and take a shower in your bath and whatnot. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, don't treat him as if he's a leper. Be gone, unclean, move. Don't do that.
But you saying I'm not helping him. You're talking as if I owe him something. I don't owe him anything.
You owe him forgiveness for what he's done and try to help him. So, in other words, I can see from the outset that as far as you're concerned, prison is not rehabilitative. Prison is a place of punishment, the worst kind, to make them sorry that they went there and frightened to go back.